Hey, this is Matt, and I recently had the privilege of interviewing Dr. John Gray, who's the New York Times bestselling author of Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. And John is amazing. He's one of the best in the world at helping us understand the opposite sex and giving practical strategies for how to communicate and make connection. And during this interview, John shared what he called the $1 million phrase for men, which was great because if you've ever wanted to give feedback to a man or share something that you were unhappy about and you found your man getting defensive, this $1 million phrase is what you can use to put him at ease. So I want to show you a clip from this interview that I did from a program called Manifest Your Man, where John talks about and teaches the $1 million phrase. Check it out.
So how does then a woman, what are your strategies for how can a woman, number one, discern what's little and big? And number two, if she decides this is big enough to bring up, how does she communicate that in a way that creates connection rather than division?
Well, this is a phrase that I don't know if it's in my most recent book. I think it is. Beyond Mars and Venus is all the updated skills. But recently I'm thinking I'm going to write a whole book with this phrase as the title. Maybe it's already done. I don't know. But this is the $1 million phrase. This is women. You're going to use this phrase and win a man over like you won't believe. This is a magic phrase. And it's simply, if you're going to share something that's upsetting to you, which would be what he will hear as a complaint. You're saying, I just want to tell you how I feel. Okay. But he's going to hear it as criticism. You have to just get that. Anytime what you feel is that you're an amazing guy, you're so helpful, you make sense, I'm so lucky to be with you, you're just, oh, what a delight to be with you. Anytime your feelings are not that, it's coming across as he blew it.
And I'm going to start.
Let me give you an example. I saw it in a movie recently. Somebody cooked this amazing meal and then asked their kid, well, do you like it? He said, it's okay. It's okay. I spent 3 hours on that.
Exactly.
So even saying it's okay or it's good, that can be sound as criticism, okay? So we all need a little extra love, particularly in intimate relationships. That's why we come together and we're so vulnerable with each other. We need to not be casual. We actually have to put a little more effort into being careful to keep pulling out the best in that person. So anyway, back to the $1 million phrase. We're on the edge of our seats. What is it?
Love it. Love it.
Build it up. So you're going to go to your partner, and Bonnie taught me this, all right? So she said, this is one of those big deals. I was given a talk, and for some reason I went on 3 hours. It's supposed to be an hour talk. So I'm literally 2.5 hours late for dinner when I get home.
Uh-oh.
She had made a dinner. She knew I was coming home, and she didn't, she didn't call me. Probably my phone was off, whatever. So she's worried. All this stuff is going on. She's made this dinner. She feels unimportant. But I'm just like, oh, I'm 2.5 hours late. Oh my God, she's going to be upset. And I came home, and she basically just said, your food's in the refrigerator. I'm going to bed. And so that was it. She didn't want to talk. So I knew she was upset. And the next day, she took some time to process her feelings and came back to love. Now, again, skills are one thing, and you can have all the skills in the world, but if you can't have your heart open, they don't work. Okay, that is a prerequisite. You got to come from a place of love, and then all this stuff works. If you don't, then you do the stuff that doesn't depend on your partner in order to feel love. Okay, so that's why we have all this personal growth stuff. This is why we've got our prayer. This is why we have our meditation. This is why we have our children, our work, our gardening, our singing, our hobbies. All those things that make us happy is a huge chunk of our life. Our partner should be like 20%, And so if you're upset with your partner, you need to shift gears and look somewhere else for the support you need to open your heart. So for her, the support she went to was journaling her feelings, loving herself. Okay, that's a way of self-loving, is listening to your own feelings. And it's particularly important at a time when you feel like, well, he doesn't care about me, he doesn't understand me. Well, you have to then take time to care about you and listen to yourself like a child inside. And so she wrote out her feelings, a process we teach. Then she came back to a loving place. She got clear, and then she came into the room. She said, John, I need to talk to you. And then she prefaced it And she said, this is the man, because as soon as I knew I was in big trouble, we need to talk. Or, those are the scariest words for men. We need to talk.
It
Actually,
totally is. It totally...
You always leave that phrase out. Just say, I need to spend some time with you for a few minutes. We need to spend some time together. That might even be better. I just thought of that. But anyway, the famous "we need to talk." Immediately, stress reaction happens in a man.
Yes.
But you can now counter that stress reaction with the $1 million phrase. And what is it? It's simply saying to him, it's not a big deal. Now, it was a big deal to her, but now she's opened her heart. So she's now in a different space. It was a big deal, but right now, my heart's open. Do you understand this? If you
I'm having this epiphany right now.
Imagine your wife's really upset with you, and she says, look, I want to talk to you for 5 minutes. I don't need you to say anything, and it's not a big deal. What's your reaction to that?
Relax.
Total relaxation. All adrenaline goes down.
Yes.
And this is the practicality of that phrase, because when you're talking to your partner, there's two things could be your objective. One, well, there could be more, but you want to punish him. That could be in there. But basically, you want to control him. And you're not aware of that. Women don't think I want to control, but they want him to change. I want you to understand how I feel so you won't do this again, okay?
Yeah, they want a different outcome.
They want a different outcome.
Yeah.
So if your focus is I want a different outcome, he will resist, okay? It's just, so, but if your focus is I want you to understand me so you can choose a different outcome, it's different. I don't have to push this on you. I just need to inform you, and I trust that you will use that information in the best way that you can. That's the attitude. And that prefaces it. You just preface it. I just need to talk for 5 minutes. I don't need you to say anything. Anything which is you think is going to be upsetting to him, you should always preface it by a time limit. That's the next thing. It's only going to be 5 minutes. I have some feelings. I want to share them with you. I don't need you to say anything. It's not a big deal. I just need you to understand how I feel.
Preface, yes, is saying, I just want to talk to you for 57 minutes here.
Just say it's going to take 5 minutes. And it says 5. You know why conversations go on for 57 minutes? Because we talk as men. But why? But how can you say that? But don't you realize I was going to whatever excuses we have. We're built to defend. We're defenders, okay? That's who we are, the defenders. And so as soon as there's an adrenaline response in men, blood flow stops to this part of the brain, that's the prefrontal cortex, and it goes back here to the defensive part of the brain, the fight or flight reaction. This is biology. As soon as you have that apprehension, you can measure the adrenaline getting produced. And then if you have a history of this happening, cortisol gets produced, and blood flow immediately stops to the front part of the brain. You can't even have compassion. You can't have empathy. All you can do is defend and make someone else wrong. This is what happens. So here's what she did as an example of a skill. She's a master. So she said, it's not a big deal. Knowing that puts me at ease so that I can fulfill her major goal, which is for me to hear her. See, this is what women say over and over. You don't listen, you don't listen, you don't listen. Well, women, if you want him to listen, you need to put him at ease.
I love that phrase. I think that phrase is brilliant. I think it's genius. And I think it is absolutely effective. The phrase, it's not a big deal. I just need you to know how I feel. Because remember, as you say that, it puts your man at ease. It relaxes him so he can hear you and the two of you can address the real issue. Because remember, if you say that it is a big deal, even if you don't verbalize it, but you say it with your energy, you say it with your intense tone, you say it with your anger, immediately, remember what John said, the blood cuts off from your man's prefrontal cortex. So now he can't think straight. It rushes instead to his amygdala where the fight or flight is, and he immediately gets defensive, and you're not going to get the result that you want. So saying, hey, this isn't a big deal. I just need you to understand how I feel is brilliant, because now not only can he think, but you're giving him an objective. What's his objective? To understand how you feel. He's able to direct his attention there. Now, you might be the person saying, well, Matt, what if it is a big deal? This is a big deal. That's why I'm bringing it up. I can't say it's not a big deal and stay authentic to how I feel. I want to give you 2 tips with that. The first tip is to remember that it doesn't have to be a big deal for you to bring it up. That you're able to bring up all kinds of stuff without it being a big deal. Some of us are taught that we can't really bring it up unless it is a big deal. Otherwise, why are we talking about it? This isn't a big deal. Why are we talking about this? The reason you're bringing it up is because it matters to you. It matters to you, not necessarily because it's big or small, but it matters to you. And you have full permission to bring up anything that matters to you. And the second tip that you can use to feel congruent in saying this isn't a big deal is to remember that big is relative. It's big to what? What is it compared to? Compared to your love for him, compared to your commitment for him, compared to the relationship, that issue is small. So compared to that, this really isn't a big deal. But when we get intense and say it is a big deal, it shuts him down. So remember, you're bringing it up because it matters to you, and it's really not a big deal compared to your love, your commitment, and the relationship the 2 of you share. And here's what's great about that statement. It doesn't just work with your romantic partner. It can work with your father, it can work with your brother, it can work with a coworker. So it's universal. So I challenge you to use it this week and see how it goes. Because remember, this channel is all about pouring into you, about helping you increase the love in your life. So if you're not yet a subscriber, take a moment, click the red button and the bell, subscribe to this channel so that you'll not only get the latest and greatest, newest videos that come out each and every week, but you'll be part of the conversation. There's amazing insights, amazing conversations that are happening in the comment section below. So I invite you to comment right now. What phrases have you found helpful when you're wanting to put a man at ease and communicate more effectively? Put those in the comment section below. I appreciate you. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.